when you're a fighter pilot, that's all you do is fly airplanes. The last 4 years that I was in the Navy, I helped reshape a program that saved you, the taxpayer, $2.2 billion. I know how to save money. 4 days before President Obama took his oath of office, he said, we're going to fundamentally transform the United States of America. What does he mean by fundamentally transform? We've already heard somebody tonight talk about fundamentals. Foundation, that's what he's talking about, the foundation. What is the foundation of the United States of America? Our Constitution. You got it. So we're going to change our Constitution? No. He's not going to change the Constitution. Nobody's going to rewrite the Constitution or even make amendments to it. But how do you change the Constitution if you can't do those things? You make it irrelevant. And that's what they're doing. They're legislating around the Constitution. We've been watching that go on for the last year and a half. We, the people of the United States of America, in order to form a perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity, to ordain and establish this Constitution for the United States of America. Does anybody here think that needs to be fundamentally transformed? No, absolutely not. And yet we have got a government, a majority of government, and an administration that wants to do just that, legislate around the Constitution. And why is that? How did we end up here? Because we allowed it. We've been asking the government, the federal government, for the last 100 years to solve problems for us. Benjamin Franklin explained it to us. He said the natural inclination of mankind is a kingly government, a monarchy. That is exactly what our founders fought to get out from under. And why is that? Well, he explains. Because a monarchy, or a strong central government, which is the direction we're headed, creates the illusion of creating equality for all citizens. Sound familiar? James Madison explained to us the purpose, the role of the federal government and the state governments. The purpose of the federal government is external, war, peace, foreign negotiations, foreign commerce. The state government is internal, social and civil issues. Why is the federal government regulating our social and civil issues? Because we've allowed it. And it's time to stop. Now let's take a look at a perfect example today. Healthcare. Does the federal government have authority to reform healthcare?
No.
It says right in the Constitution they have the authority to raise revenue. Thomas Jefferson told us, he explained it to us on numerous occasions. He said they, referring to Congress, are not to do anything they please to provide for the general welfare, but only to raise revenue for it. And he goes on to explain. Giving an independent power, the authority, to do whatever they please to provide for the Union, renders all preceding and subsequent enumerations of power completely useless. So what is Thomas Jefferson telling us? If we allow the Congress to reform social issues, healthcare, items like that, which they have no authority to do, we are rendering the Constitution useless, irrelevant. And what did we say at the beginning? This administration and this government wants to do exactly that. Make the Constitution irrelevant so they can do what they want. This is a huge power grab. So what is the solution? We've got to start electing career leaders, people who have proven themselves outside of government and understand the Constitution and know the relationship between the state and federal governments to federal office. Secondly, we've got to stop spending ourselves into debt. Henry Morgenthau, Secretary of the Treasury under FDR, at the end of that administration, explained how spending did not work. He said, we spent more money than ever before, and it does not work. This was a testimony to Congress. He said, we've got just as high an unemployment as we've ever had, and an enormous debt to boot. And what are we doing? We're repeating history. We've got to go back into history, look at what it tells us, and not make the same mistakes. That's why I'm running for Congress. I know how to get things done. As a fighter pilot, you get one shot at it. You got to get things done right the first time. I'm an airline pilot, as they said with American Airlines. Got one of the greatest jobs in the world. I'm not quitting that job. I can take a leave of absence. Lucky me. And then I have that wonderful job to go back to. And that's what I'll be doing. So I'm going to be like the original citizen candidates, where I'm going to serve for a couple terms and then go back to a wonderful job. That's going to be a lot easier than being a politician. Thank you very much.